Are you ready for this sickness? Let's get into it. Hey guys, welcome back to Economics and Comics. I'm here with Joel Massey from Gone with the Twins.
Yeah, thanks for having me back.
Check them out at gonewiththetwins.com. They have everything you need to know about movie reviews from beginning to end, everything. Awesome site. And of course, I'm Bill from Economics and Comics. This is going to be your movie review on Good Boys, One Man versus One Critic. Can we argue? So I'm wearing my Don't Be a Wiener shirt,
Yes.
representing.
Yeah, well, this film is created by the same team that did Sausage Party and Superbad.
Pineapple Express, all that stuff, right?
I believe they had a hand in that one. It's Jonah Hill, Evan Goldberg, and Seth Rogen.
Yeah, so, Chloe is here as well. I don't know why, but she's here. She wants to say hi. So, I don't know if did you see a preview? Because I saw
I did
a
not.
preview.
Yeah, I had no idea what this was going into it.
So I knew it was going to be really bad. But
when you say bad, you mean as in extremely R-rated?
For kids, yeah. And, I kind of want to hear his opinion first. I loved it. I laughed a lot, but there are some things that I'm critical about. I want to hear what he says first, so maybe I can attack him.
Yeah, well, we didn't talk at all about this prior to coming here. So I did enjoy the film. I thought it was funny. I had an issue with a few things. One of the major things is that it is exactly Superbad, but with a younger cast.
It is true.
So they're sixth graders in this film. They're 12-year-olds, and they are the path of the plot is almost identical to Superbad. They're going
party nerdy.
Yes, they're going. They're experiencing growing up, but as a younger age group. But they're still going after the sex and the drugs and the partying, and they even go so far as to encounter the same things. In Superbad, they end up at a college party where they're out of place. Here, they end up at a frat house where they're out of place, and they have to, a lot of hijinks to get out. They get into a convenience store and try and steal beer, which is exactly what happens in Superbad.
You're right. Everything is
so many
very
similarities.
Close. Yeah.
So if you've seen Superbad, that actually takes away a little bit of the originality of this film, because you realize, well, it's not very original at all. That said, it's still funny because you're seeing an even younger age group curse every 5 seconds.
Yeah, there's a lot of
and that's something so the repetition also hurts it a little bit. The first 5 minutes of the film, when these 12-year-old kids are using the F word, it's pretty funny.
Yeah.
But as the film progresses, it loses that edge, because now you're hearing it every 10 minutes, every 5 minutes or so.
I feel like if you're a kid and you're that age, maybe, okay, so these are like 12-year-olds, say like 14, 15, and you're watching this, you are going to be like, oh my gosh, that movie. Well, maybe not in this time age, even younger kids are saying stuff and doing stuff I can't believe. I mean.
But how authentic is this movie?
It's not, though.
The target audience is
agree.
not 12-year-olds. So no 12-year-old is going to see this film and say, oh yeah, that's exactly how my life is. So there's no checks and balances. The people writing this, and especially Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg, their childhood was more Superbad. It was more that other film that Jonah Hill did that was actually autobiographical. This one is perhaps their take on what it would be like to be 12. But all of the things they're doing, they didn't live in the age where everybody has a cell phone. Drones play a major part in this film. None of that stuff existed. iPads, all that. None of that stuff existed when they were kids. So unless the creators have their own 12-year-old to base some of this on, this could be pure fantasy. So.
Well, I think, my stepson, he's 16 now, but he's pretty bad, man. He's, because of the access to the phones and all that. And what's interesting is, though, it's like it's the first time they ever searched porn or something at 12, which in reality is probably even earlier now when you're young. You don't have kids, so, but they're looking at everything. They know everything. They know all the bad words. They know things. So there's an innocence to this movie.
A bit too naive, maybe. In this film.
They're naive to this movie because they're 12-year-olds. But the innocence and then the trying to be cool too with the cool kids. There's a lot of stuff in the movie that relates to me as a kid, because I was a bad kid. I was a good kid, but I was bad. Unfortunately, I would sip out of the liquor cabinet, or I would go steal or do stupid stuff with my friends when you're young and you have a bike. But back then there was no phones. Now it's kind of weird because they give them the bikes and they're going around and stuff and they have the phone, but that's not reality anymore. Kids don't leave the house anymore. I'm telling you, they don't leave the house. In the comments, I want you to people with kids, they're 10 to 15. Do they leave the house? No, they're like this all the time on their phone or in PlayStation.
Yeah, perhaps going out to parties and things like that is becoming less and less common.
I think the older you get, like Superbad, that's more common. But not a 12-year-old to go to a kissing party. That's the whole premise. But, I mean, here's what I didn't like about the movie, and I agree with you. Unfortunately, I agree again with him. It's a copy of Superbad. It is, but not to that level. But I was expecting them to even go harder on this movie. I was expecting to go, oh my God, I can't believe they did that.
They
you tried
felt a bit of restraint, maybe.
Oh yeah, there was restraint. And I mean,
but then again, these are young actors.
I know, but they're saying the F word every 5 seconds.
True, but
they've got, they have sex dolls. There's vibrators. They're talking about ecstasy. There's drinking alcohol. I mean, they've gone that whole level. In Superbad, that was kind of tasting it. Then they did this, and they went a whole nother level. Mm-hmm. I thought this was going to be like beyond. Because in our age, you have to reach that next level to get that next level reaction. And they almost went super bad, like this, under. It's almost like here because they're 12-year-olds.
They did take a step back in like the raunchiness and the edginess, but I think they had to.
But they included all the things that they could have gone farther with.
Yeah.
It's rated R, right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
I mean, so this is for adults. Why not go all the way? I mean, let's push the limits here. It's like they made it for kids.
Yeah, well,
like teenagers.
It's certainly not for kids, but they do show restraint, and it's perhaps just because it might. They're trying to get close to that edge of taste, right? If you go over it and it just becomes too much and disgusting or grotesque, there's only so much you can joke about, really, when it comes to little kids and all of these sexual themes. But I will say another thing that, for me, Superbad had an air of authenticity simply because all of the scenarios they came up with felt like they could happen. And there were, to some degree, real consequences for their actions. In this film, it's much less so. A lot of the scenarios border on just pure fantasy, how they get out of them. When you've got little kids going to a frat party, when you've got 12-year-olds trying to cross a busy highway, they get out of these situations in ways that are just not realistic at all. But, so that's, to me, I felt Superbad had a little bit more realism.
I disagree. I think anything's possible.
Yeah.
I think they could have gone farther to make it more fantasy. But in reality, when I was a kid, I did half the things that are in this movie. So
you ran
another
across
level.
A busy highway?
Well, I've done it all on a bike. I mean, I've done a lot. And I'm not saying that's a good thing. Don't tell your kids to do that. But when we were young, it was going out and being an adventure outside of the house. I mean, they hit on points like that. Like, oh my God, we have to go 4 miles away. That is so far. At 12-year-olds on a bike, it is far. You ride a couple miles and you're like, oh my God, I need water. So they hit on all those things that relate to me when I was a kid. Going on adventures on my bike by myself. But they do tie in the new tech and stuff in there too.
I think they do a good job of bringing forth some of those tropes you see about younger kids. The concept that some of them are brutally honest. One of the kids in here just can't help but tell the truth all the time, even though
it's funny.
Yeah, so it is funny, but it's a trope they do, and also the awkwardness of the first kiss or trying to. They play spin the bottle, things like that, where it's that concept of growing up and trying to find a girlfriend and all that kind of
It's funny because there's 3 characters. I don't want to take too long on this, but there's 3 characters. One is he tells the truth all the time, and one is like
Max, Thor, and Lucas.
Max, Thor, and Lucas. And Thor, he wants to sing, and then Lucas is the
He's
main.
the one his parents are getting divorced.
Oh, so Max is the one that wants trying to kiss. Mm-hmm. But it's so funny, like, it's a story about friendship and doing this mission and stuff, and then how your friends, when you're growing up and you get older and older, I mean, it's 6th grade, you're moving into junior high next, and you kind of split away, and it's funny, he's trying to get this girl, he finally gets her, and then they break up. And then he gets another girl, and he breaks up. And another girl, and all in that same time period of age. And it's so funny, I know it sounds ridiculous, but I can relate to that kid in that situation after just multiple relationships with
Well,
girls. That was the goal.
Yeah.
To have a girlfriend.
That concept that kids believe things are so important at that age. They think this girl is the one and only that they'll ever meet, or it's the destiny to be with this girl. And think, that concept is there, and it's presented well.
So it does, in reality, it does take you back to when you were a kid. There are parts that touch for all ages, and even kids now. Honestly, I think kids now could handle this movie, and they would understand the whole thing. So I don't know who they're reaching out to with the rated R. I mean, they had to go rated R to cuss that many times. But you're right. I gotta admit again, he's right. It is Superbad 2.0, but in 6th grade.
And
it's like the
I think
exact
for
same
me,
thing.
and don't get me wrong, I did enjoy the movie. I thought it was funny. But if they had simply taken a different story, it's
just another plot line.
Yeah, I mean, kids can do anything. They can get into all kinds of trouble, but for whatever reason, the trouble they get into mirrors so closely
everything.
Yeah. Every major thing that happens. Yeah, even so far as that in Superbad, they had slightly older kids on their side, and this one they have 2 girls who are slightly older that they both have confrontation, and they help them toward the end. And so, yeah, it's just every major plot point is mirrored from Superbad.
That's crazy. It's totally true. They could have chewed.
Which, if you love Superbad, you might appreciate it, but at the same time.
But then you realize when you watch that same movie, just 6th graders.
Yeah. There's actually another film that came even earlier than this called Mystery Team, and I felt like that maybe had a little bit of a stranger, different, fresher aspect of showing the little kids cursing and doing things that are much more adult than they should be. So.
Yeah, well, they know what they're working. They know they can make money and do it, but it's just it's a weirder to. It's hard to say. It's interesting with a bunch of 12-year-olds, and it's funny, and there's a lot of cussing, and there's a lot of funny things that relate to now.
Well, you know the style of humor if you're familiar with Superbad and Sausage Party.
Yeah, but I think my point of the whole thing
is not as edgy.
I think they went lower than what they're. I expected them to go to another level. Because that's what these movies have been doing. And I think it went back down again. Like they're going to start over again. The movie that they did when the end of the world with all the characters.
Oh, This Is the End.
Yeah, that was them, right? I'm pretty sure that was them.
I'm not sure.
That was them.
It had a lot of the similar...
Well, it had everybody, but I'm pretty sure they're the one. I mean, that took it to another level. You know what I mean?
Once you're dealing with an older cast, an older group, to where they can make jokes of things that I don't think this one could have got away with.
Well, that's what I was expecting, and that's not what I got. I mean, I did get some of it, but not to that other level. I did enjoy it, though. It's pretty dang funny. But again, it's a copy of Superbad. You're 100% right on that. So there you go. He wins again.
Well, we'll disagree on the next one.
I hope so. Okay. I think I did. I did argue with the dog. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Please check out GoneWithTheTwins.com. And if you like this, please sub, give me a like, comment after you see it or before you see it or whatever. And we'll see you next time. Okay, thanks again, Joel.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed that video, please hit that like button and subscribe now. Here's another video for your sickness entertainment. Have a great one. Bye-bye.